Hello! Welcome back to another episode of Lychee Legacy with Tia and May. Today we are going to jump into a little chit-chat topic on manifestation. And we're going to talk about human design. Do you want to introduce that topic to us?
Yeah, so actually we were having a quick discussion on manifestations, and I study human design, have been studying for the past 2.5 years. So anybody who doesn't know what human design is, it's just one of those tools that in the spiritual community we use as a foundation to help us be in alignment to our bodies, because we all have a specific way of living in our alignment. So this involves psychology, it involves how we take action and how things will come to us easier. So today we're gonna be talking about how we manifest. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but I just want to focus on the ones that May have and what I have, and we'll just kind of chat like that. You guys will kind of be seeing us just kind of chatting with each other, but we just wanted to invite you into the conversation, just because this is one of those things that people don't realize has a big impact. And we can also get deeper into that, but there were things that, people in the spiritual community will continue to talk about and swear by, but when it comes down to you trying the same thing they highly rave, you wonder why it doesn't work for you. So human design can explain that, because you are very unique to your own design, and what works for you may not work for somebody else, and vice versa. So, and that doesn't mean that what they're saying is wrong. It's just, it doesn't work for you, but it works for them. So
yeah, we already started on the little chit chat earlier, but we're going to continue this now.
But before we do that, we're gonna introduce our drinks. So
we have some drinks ready. Our drink du jour, drink of the day. I have Vita Soy. This is soy milk. I've had it when I was much younger, and this is actually my first time having it again. As an adult, probably. I don't even remember the last time, and this is a paper straw. They use paper straw now, and I broke it already.
Oh.
Did you not know it was a paper straw? I didn't even know they could make these in paper.
Yeah. They've opted for paper straws for some time now.
So it's been that long since I've had this. No, this is sad. I bent my paper straw. Okay, no, we're good. Moving forward.
Yeah, and I'm just having my basic milk tea drink.
There's nothing basic about this. It has a Raichu on it. Is that a Raichu?
No, it's from Digimon.
It's from Digimon?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know who this one is. I forgot. It's been a long time since I've watched Digimon, but yeah.
Yeah, technically I've watched a few episodes. I don't remember any of the Digimon characters. So, actually, let me see if it brings me back to childhood. Not with this paper straw, though. This is throwing me off. No.
No. That's the original, because they now also have sugar free or lower in fat or something.
I don't like it as an adult, but we'll move forward. Let me also get comfy here with a little blankie.
Yeah, we both have blankets, so
comfy.
So we're not going to be looking at the camera so much, because it's just going to be our conversation, but we're going to have you guys kind of just watch and pick up and learn some of these things, just because as I've started growing in my spiritual journey, you start realizing there are certain things that work for you and you only, and although you can say that to a lot of other people, but if they don't resonate or they're not of that same design, it's not gonna work for them, and then they're gonna think oh, you're BS, what you're saying doesn't make sense. So I wanted to do a quick rundown. Her motivation is desire, and my motivation is guilt. So I know I'm kind of jumping right into it, and
But what are like all of them? Because there's different ways that like we could all resonate with how we manifest.
yeah. So there's 6 different types of motivations, and I'm not gonna list them in any particular order, but there's a need, there's a fear, there's hope, there's innocence, there's guilt, and there's desire. So there's the 6. And depending on what your motivation is, there's also the opposite. So if I can remember correctly, guilt, the opposite of guilt is hope. The opposite of desire is innocence, and the opposite of need is fear. So those two interchange. So whatever you have as a motivation, the opposite is transference, which means that is like you're not self, and when you are in that state, you're actually not manifesting and you're not operating in alignment to who you are in your design. So, but I'm not going to get through all 6 today. I just want to talk about desire, but I'm also going to bring up her opposite, which is innocence, because when we're not aware of these things, it's so easy for us to kind of like fall into the transference, which brings us out of our alignment of manifestation.
Yeah, because I guess we're referring to the things that apply to us, and we get to see how it plays out into the real world, into our real life, into the everyday life in terms of how manifestation happens.
Mm-hmm. And this is also something that's kind of deeper in human design. That's not usually what you start out with. This is considered part of the variables of our human design chart, but manifestation is like a really big topic of discussion in the spiritual world right now. So I want to just bring this up as like kind of, educating everybody else, as well as like for both of us, because I'm just discovering this for her. I don't have any other friends that have a desire motivation. So this is like a first for me, and I'm kind of a nerd, so because I couldn't sleep, I kind of like did a lot of research on it, and yeah, we will see how it plays out. But I do notice like there are certain things that she already does that does manifest for her, but we just weren't aware that like, oh, she was operating from her motivation versus her transference.
Yeah, I think it's because there are people that don't realize there are many levels and different types of manifestation. So we want to make sure that the things that we do work for us, and not just because we hear it generally, because everyone manifests in a different way. So we don't want to be doing things that end up sabotaging our manifestations and setting us back.
Yeah, so one of the things that kind of triggered me to kind of bring about this topic was the fact that, and she says it a lot, but like it's all over the spiritual world right now, is that we don't chase, we attract. And that actually is an alignment to more hope and innocence type of motivation, but it doesn't work for her, because what desire is like you want something, and the thing that you want, it could be anything. The thing that she wants is what's going to be her motivation. That's going to be her drive to get that. So for her, what she needs to do is whatever she decides she wants, every choice and action that she chooses has to be in alignment to what she desires. Otherwise, it's going to take her away from what she's looking for, which, I mean, ultimately, manifestation is, why do we manifest? It's because we want things, right? We manifest what we want. So how do we get there? It all plays out differently based off of these 6 types of motivation. And so for her, like, for example, you could say, and I was already kind of using this as an example, but like, and it doesn't have to apply to her. I'm just using it as like the easiest example that's just popping out of my head right now. And that is like, let's say you desire to have a fit body, whatever that means to you, right? But like, is your day-to-day choices in alignment to that? And I know that just seems really, like obvious, but actually it's not so obvious for people who have innocence, as which is her transference. And what that comes off is like detachment. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna trust that I'm going to just get there. I'm not taking any action. I'm just kind of like waiting for the universe to give me a sign. And I know, like, okay, like for this example, it's like, okay, that's a little weird, but like just kind of apply it to all the other things that you want to achieve, right? Like you're waiting for a sign to see if this is like the right decision for you, if this is the right path of action. That doesn't align to her because the desire is forcing her to go take action and only doing things that are in alignment to what she desires.
Yeah, so I realize I have been manifesting wrong this whole time.
Yeah, because well, it's not her fault because, again, there's the big.
Because we always hear, because there's so many advice and so much information out there that we want to take things that seem like it would fit with us when it doesn't fit. So sometimes we have to be able to discern what works for us and what doesn't.
Yeah, like I said, that sentence, like, we don't chase, we attract.
I'm going to have to let that one go. That has been my motto for
quite a while.
Right? And I'm trying to like think like, has it ever applied to me, or am I just delusional? Like, or is it just like a phrase that I throw out now without a second thought? Like when people say YOLO.
Yeah.
I don't chase, I attract. Well, I guess I'm trying. Like, because that sounds nice, right? You don't have to chase, you could just attract. But now I'm finding out that, oh, I actually have to chase? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, because the thing is, like, when you say that, right, like, what you're saying to yourself, you're actually diffusing your desire by saying that. It's like, oh, if I desire anything, then that means it's not going to come to me because that's the point of, I don't chase, I attract. Because if you chase, automatically you are telling the universe that, okay, if I'm chasing, the thing is running away from me and I'm chasing it. But that's not how desire really works. Because the desire is like, okay, that's the goal.
It's something attainable.
Yes. Yeah.
So I had to work to attain my desires, which it's kind of like when I first heard it, it's not that exciting. It doesn't sound that exciting, but that's what we're all doing, is just trying to work with our natural design.
Yeah, and we all have it. Like, the core of us is already designed to be that way. But what ends up happening is, like, like we hear things from other people, we get rewired, we get, all these, like, I mean, nowadays we have social media, so we're being flooded with so much information and we just don't know what is right, what is wrong, but because we want certain things to be true, then we attach our decisions and our hopes and dreams to what we want, rather than like what actually is true for us, which actually, when you are in your own alignment, things just start happening so much easier. Like, things are just gonna work out because that's what's natural. That's what's going to happen for you already.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to kind of talk about that transference a little bit, because the transference for innocence, which is opposite of her desire, is like, okay, you still have a goal, like you desire whatever you desire, but the thing is, you don't go after it. You just kind of wait for signs. So if I'm gonna take that example of you want to be fit, you're gonna look at the universe to give you opportunity. So what's gonna happen is, like, for example, somebody has like 2 coupons to go, I don't know, like kayaking or something, and it's like that's the opportunity for you to like get in physical shape. And that's just like one example, like if that's what you want, then the universe is gonna bring that to you through signs, opportunities. And it's like, it kind of goes against what society teaches us to, because it's like, oh, if you sit there, then you're not gonna attain anything, you're not gonna get anywhere. But like for people who have innocent motivation, that is what they have to do. And actually, I want to go back to the desire motivation as well. It's hard if you have a desire motivation because people kind of make you feel bad for having desires. It feels selfish to have wants that like you just want, and it comes off as like, oh, you're just focused on yourself. So actually there is a lot of pressure for people with desire motivation to not even align themselves to it because there's just so much like, what's the word, like there's just so much pressure to consider yourself like a good person. And then once, for whatever reason, like if you have desires, all of a sudden you're written like, oh, you're selfish or a bad person. But like that's not true, you know, because otherwise like you're just gonna continue not being in alignment to who you are and what brings you success. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about like my guilt motivation.
Yeah, let's talk about yours.
Yeah, so guilt motivation I think is like more common. Well, at least like from what I've seen with my friends' charts, it's more common. And the guilt motivation is like there's this guilt of needing to get things done. And the guilt motivation is actually here. There's like this want to help people, to make an impact in other people's lives. So how that responds is like if you see a problem and you think, oh, I have a solution that can make this better, that is actually guilt motivation activating. And the opposite of guilt motivation is hope motivation, which it's like I'm hopeful that things will get better. I'm hoping that they will benefit, you know, just from whatever. Like you don't actually get involved with the situation if you have a hope motivation. But because my motivation is guilt, the transference, which is my not self, if I was to do this, then it's not going to be in alignment and I won't bring in my manifestations. It's just being hopeful. It's just thinking like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and hope like things will work out. That doesn't work for a guilt motivation, even though that may feel more comfortable. You're always going to end up ping-ponging between the two if you're not aware of it. But I've always had this sense of like, oh, I need to do stuff for other people. So I'm usually in my guilt motivation. And the cool thing about motivation is whatever your motivation is, you actually have that impact to other people. So for example, my guilt motivation can also make other people feel that guilt to start getting things done. And for her, it's like because she's desiring things, she's inspiring other people to also have desires.
I can activate people's desires.
Yeah. So I think it's like really cool. And you know, I think between both of us, and now we're kind of like staying away from the camera, we're just gonna have a casual conversation. But you know, you had some really like genius thoughts earlier, and
I have genius thoughts all the time. What are you referring to?
I know I can't draw up like any.
It's cool. It's just too many. It's alright.
But yeah, like it's pretty cool to share this because, like I said, people are always telling you have to. This is how you manifest. This is how it works, and it's like, you know, like it works for them. And it may not work for you, and it doesn't mean they're wrong. It also doesn't mean like you ducked up somehow.
But now at least there's an awareness that there are different ways to go about it.
Yeah. I love human design, to be honest. Like, it's really helped me to understand like what works best for me. And I know because the creator of human design is also a 5-1 manifester, which we'll talk about that another time, but just
Is that so?
yeah.
Okay.
He's also
It's a he, okay.
yeah, Ra. I can't say his whole name.
Oh,
but Ra.
Okay, I know him. I don't know him personally. I know him.
Ra is a 5-1 manifester.
Right,
like
right.
you.
Because I was looking into manifestor content, and then I saw him.
Yeah.
I saw some of his work.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that's like the founder of human design.
Yeah, so he's the founder. It was channeled through, I forgot how many
But that's
days.
me. I'm a 5-1 manifestor.
Yes,
okay.
you are. Yeah, so the thing about
Bro.
the thing about this profile type, because the profile is 5-1 and the type is manifester, it is very sensitive to people's thoughts and opinions. So because of that, like, people either love and believe in human design or they don't mess with it at all, which is normal because manifestor energy is also naturally repelling, but it only repels those who are not in alignment to what the manifestor is trying to create. And then with the 5-1, it's like it's here to create a universal solution, but at the same time it's more visionary, so it's not something that like people usually get on board with just yet, but over time it starts developing because that is where the future is going.